We've managed to come back from being P12 at one point after the pit stop phase. Made up 7 positions, so I'm pretty happy with that. Yes, we were on superior tyres, but still, you know, the strategy just not quite working in our favour today, and we've made the best of a bad situation. So George Russell crosses the line to win the Bahrain Grand Prix, and we are going to follow shortly behind to take P5 at the flag. Yeah, there are 3 DRS zones to defend from him. We've just got into the first one, and we'll see how the Delta is shaping up. Burning that battery, we actually have managed to keep him at bay in this one, but the next one is going to be the really hard one, especially because I tagged the wall on the inside of the corner and got all out of shape there. That is going to give me an awful run going into this DRS zone, which means even burning the battery, Pierre Gasly is going to make the move up the inside going into the final corner, but he's locked up and gone deep into the final corner, and that has allowed me to make my way back past Pierre Gasly. However, I took a bad line through the final corner, and now Logan Sargent is going to be piling the pressure on, but he's not going to get there in time, and is going to be a P10 finish.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
But Jack Doohan is quite close to us. I don't think that there's really an opportunity for him to put some pressure on us, unless we have a really poor exit from the final corner. You would have to say that I think this is going to be a P3 for me, as yes, eventually Lando Norris does win the Grand Prix, the first win for himself and Mercedes this season, but I'm sure it won't be the last. And we are going to round the final corner and come on the run up to the line, take the checkered flag for P3. And now, here's the big one. As we're deploying all of the battery we have, Carlos Sainz is still going to come to the inside. We're going to be wheel to wheel going into the final corner. Obviously, he brakes a little bit later. The tyres are shot at this point as well, and we go deep into the corner, but we managed to hang it around the outside of Carlos Sainz. And as we come through the final corner, we've kept him at bay. We've got a bit more battery to deploy to keep him behind, and we're going to cross the line to take P12. And my goodness, what a stressful end to that race that was. But we've just about managed to hold on to that P12, and we are not the lowest finisher out of the top 7 teams. Carlos Sainz somehow gets driver of the day in spite of all of that. This time I am going to burn battery all the way to the line, so we're just going to have to hope that DRS that he's going to get in a second isn't going to be powerful enough for him to gain the position before the end of the race. Liam Lawson, I don't think he's going to do it. We're going to come to the line. It's going to be P14. Yeah, Liam Lawson here looking like he potentially could close us down before the checkered flag again. It seems like he's a tiny bit further back than he was on the last occasion, and we held him off that time. So I think hopefully we should be okay, but he is on much fresher tyres than we are. He's on fresh, soft compound tyres that he only put on about 8 laps or so ago. Meanwhile, we're on nearly twice as old hard compound tyres. Still, coming down the main straight, you don't really need the tyres that much, so it does seem like we're going to hold on to this a little bit, and we are going to cross the line, and it's going to be P11. However, there is a weird glitch that seemed to have happened that meant that Verstappen did not get classified there. So despite the fact I think he finished about 7th, he wasn't classified. So we take P10, and we actually walk away from this race with a very undeserved point. Raleigh, we've closed the gap to 1.5 seconds now. Maybe there's a chance for us to catch Verstappen, who knows, as we come through the chicane now, and the gap has closed to less than a second on the exit. 0.7, 0.6, 0.5. You can see that the gap to Verstappen is coming down rapidly. We've gained him by almost 2 seconds already, and as we come around the final couple of corners, are we going to be fast enough to get him on the exit of the second Ravazza? On the exit, you can see we go steaming past him, and we are going to take a hard-earned P5 at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It was a difficult race for us after a pretty poor qualifying session, all things considered, but somehow we've managed to walk away from this one with a P5 finish, 10 points, and well, after qualifying I am more than happy to take a result like that. But in any case, the win has not been robbed from us on this occasion, and we are going to round the final corner, and we are going to come up to the line to take P1 in Monaco, our first win of the season, and I am very, very pleased with that outcome. And yeah, hopefully that will not be our last win this season as we try and now get ourselves back into the championship fight. Nico Hulkenberg gets a deserving driver of the day, going from wherever the hell he went to P2, and it is a win for us. Into the final sector now of the Spanish Grand Prix. I think it's going to be P2 that we're going to have to settle for, but it's been a pretty strong race from us, you know, compared to a lot of the races that we've had prior in this season where we just felt like we went backwards. We actually managed to hold our own in this race. We managed to keep pace with the front runners as well. It wasn't like I was defending like crazy to hold on to my position. I actually felt like I had decent pace in the back of the car, and we are going to round the final corner to take P2 The checkered flag for Albon there. He sees it first, gets the victory. But yeah, we are finding a little bit of form in this season at last. We've gone from first in Monaco, second in Spain, and next up is Canada as well, the site of my first win. Hopefully that one will be a good race for us as well. I've taken so much life out of these tyres now. 61% on the rear left. It's very rare that we get into the 60s on tyres in career mode, just for the simple nature of the fact that, you know, we have maximum tyre wear upgrades. You've really got to push these tyres to the absolute limit to have any chance of wearing them out to this level. But such is the nature of how hard I've pushed on these tyres and how long I've been on them as well. 30 laps on the same set of tyres. We've not boxed since lap 5. Liam Lawson undoubtedly is still catching us. The gap now down to 1.4 seconds. But ultimately, it is not going to be enough for Liam Lawson. If he'd had 1 or 2 more laps, who knows what might have happened. But he didn't have those 1 or 2 more laps. And as we come through the final chicane, we're going to cross the line to win the Canadian Grand Prix. I cannot believe it. I did not think after Liam Lawson had pitted, I did not think that we were going to be holding on to that victory. But somehow we have come away with a race win here, and we are a winner once again in Canada. You know, we've gone from being 3 seconds ahead of Perez to now we are about 1.5 seconds ahead of Perez. So my chance of scoring points here has evaporated just like that. And yeah, we're going to be very comfortably out of the points here. I don't know where we're going to be, but it's been a very difficult race for us as we come around the final corner, and we're going to cross the line to take
pick up rubber and bring
P10. Oof, horrible. I was not sure. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know how many positions I would have gained or lost with the penalty. I say gained, obviously lost, but unfortunately, yeah, we lose 5 positions off of that, and we now just have to hold off Carlos Sainz for a couple more corners to come home in P4. But he's not going to make it easy for us. Is he going to have a look up the inside here? No, actually, he doesn't, which is surprising because the AI has been dive bombing me there all day. But we don't get the best exit out of the final corner, and you can see the gap is closing and closing, but not quite quickly enough for Carlos Sainz. And we do hold on to P4. There's about 0.05 of a second in it between the two of us there at the very end, but we've held on to P4. Jack Doohan gets driver of the day for bringing it back to 8th, and it was a pretty good race for us given the circumstances. The gap to Perez behind now is closed to less than 0.2 of a second, but I think we've had a slightly better exit out of Maggots and Beckett's, and that is going to allow us to get the run towards Stowe. Or is Perez going to go for a move up the inside? I don't think he's quite close enough. But is he going to have the grip on the exit of Stowe to make a run on me down towards the Vale chicane? Once again, the answer is no as we come through the Vale chicane and as we round the final couple of corners for the first time in 12 seasons of My Team Career Mode. I'm going to win my home Grand Prix. Pretty well. I'm going to take a look at the tyre wear, and you can see we didn't quite get to 60% on the front left, so that was nice to see. Oscar Piastri is going to lead Max Verstappen home to take his first win of the season, if I'm not mistaken, or certainly his first win in a little while. Yeah, it's a win for Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen takes P2, it'll be Lando Norris P3, and we are going to cross the line to take P4. It could have been a lot worse. Starting from P2, I would have wanted a bit more, maybe a victory, or at least, you know, a podium finish. But it could have been a lot worse to get on the podium as well. So everyone here having a really strong race, but none more so than myself as I make my way through the final few corners. Kevin Magnussen is not going to have an attempt to overtake me. The line comes up way too quickly for the DRS to have any kind of effect on the standing of the race. We don't spin it out of the final corner, and as we come on the run to the line, we are going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. You know, I was kind of expecting that I would just start falling backwards a little bit, but that doesn't seem to be the case here from what I can tell as we make our way through Blanchimont on the final lap now, and yeah, we've managed to actually hold on to the win on this occasion. So yeah, very happy with that one as we come out of the final chicane. It's only the sprint victory, so it'll only be 8 points, but it will be another important 8 points that I have pulled on Lando Norris to double my advantage to him in the championship. And now we, you know, job's not done yet. We've still got an entire race to happen tomorrow, which we have a chance to maybe pull as much as 25 more points on Lando Norris in the championship, and we have to take full advantage of that. Lando Norris, having started all the way in P19, I think is still only on the fringes of the points. So another race to forget for him. I think he's in P12 at the moment. So yeah, a really disappointing one for him. But we are going to round the final corner. George Russell won't catch us this time. We're going to win for the second time in a row. And we're going to win the Belgian Grand Prix. I am extremely happy about this victory because now we have a massive, comfortable margin that we're leading the World Championship by. Lando Norris does get driver of the day. I don't think he'll care because it is another pointless weekend for the Mercedes driver. Myself, as Lando Norris wins the Grand Prix, not sure if he got fastest lap or not. We will see whether that is the case. I don't know who ended up getting P2 there, but we will find out in just a second. But we are going to see if we can close down Pierre Gasly towards the end of the race. Through this DRS zone, still not close enough. I'm going to absolutely send it through this chicane, and we're right on his tail. Can we get him through the final DRS zone? I am burning battery basically everywhere that makes sense, but we've not had the best of runs through the penultimate corner, and as we enter the final corner, we're going to be 4 tenths down on him. Surely this is not possible to make up through the final DRS zone, and you would be right. And we have to settle for P14 as we almost go into the back of Pierre Gasly there. What a disappointing race for us, but unfortunately we just couldn't get going. From qualifying, even then, we didn't look like we were on the pace. And Max Verstappen gets driver of the day in his hometown, which I'm sure he'll be very happy with. And it's going to be, you can see that the Mercedes are still in dead last right now. Somehow Stroll, despite the fact that he spun round for ages and had to box, he's managed to get himself back ahead of both of the Mercedes, which I don't understand at all, because there was not a safety car that came as a result of that incident. But in any case, we are now going to round the final corner, and in one of the weirder Grand Prix that we've done this season, certainly, we are going to hold on to this P3 position. We're going to cross the line. It's going to be a victory for Perez. If we win the Constructors' Championship this season, I will re-sign Jack Doohan to my team for what will be 2028. But if we don't win the Constructors' Championship, then it's going to be goodbye Doohan and hello somebody else, preferably an experienced driver. But maybe you think we should sign another rookie. Maybe you think we should sign Felipe Drugovich. Maybe you think we should sign someone completely different. Maybe you think we should sign Roy Nissany. I don't know. We will see how that goes. But in the end, despite the fact we had a pretty scruffy final lap, we held on quite nicely here, and we are going to win the Japanese Grand Prix. Because despite the fact that Oscar Piastri has moved into my DRS range now, I'm pretty optimistic I'll be able to keep him behind, unless he really has a great run through these final corners and gets close with the DRS as well. But we've saved up quite a lot of battery. We have more than enough to deploy it all the way to the line from the exit of this corner. We actually got front wing damage somewhere. I'm not sure when that happened. Oh, not front wing damage, floor damage I should say. I'm not sure when that happened, but it didn't affect us too much, and we are going to cross the line to win the sprint here in Qatar, and that is 8 points picked up for us. Lando Norris was outside the top 3 in the end, so on a weekend where I thought this was going to be damage limitation, so far all we've done is we've managed to extend our championship lead further, and we'll see if we can go one better once we get into the Grand Prix. And as we make our way round the final few corners, you can see that Max Verstappen has won the race in the Aston Martin. Good result for him. He's not having the best of seasons, but that will go a long way into improving his confidence and maybe allowing him to make a bit of a fight towards the top end, even if he can't win the championship anymore. I'm sure that he will still be trying very, very hard to maximise his result in the championship. And we are going to round the final corner. We're onto the DRS straight now. It was just an absolutely horrid race from start to finish here in terms of tyre performance, but we are going to cross the line to take P17. We struggle home, and yeah, hopefully this will be the worst race result we have all season, and we can start getting on the road to recovery a bit more once we get into a few tracks that I quite like Brazil and Portugal, for example. I think could go really well for us. So yeah, this should be fairly comfortable. Burning the battery the whole way. Liam Lawson did close us down, but not enough to go for a move, and that should hopefully be P4 for us. As Sergio Perez and the top 3 have rounded the final corner in the order of Perez, Norris and Russell. It is going to be a win for the hometown hero, Sergio Perez, at the Mexican Grand Prix. And we now are going to round the final corner, and we are going to take P4. I'm somewhat happy with that. I think that honestly, it's a fairly good result to minimise the damage that Lando Norris is going to cause to us in the Drivers' Championship, but I feel like maybe a podium was on. Zhou Guanyu gets driver of the day for recovering into the points, grabbing Alfa Romeo's first points of the season. However, George Russell still, we're very, very close to him here. Can we make the overtake on George Russell, or is it going to be another sprint victory that slips through my fingers here? As we make our way through the technical section, you can see my tyres really struggling to grip up through these corners, and George Russell just seemingly getting way more traction than I am. So as we come through the final corner here, or the final true corner, the final braking zone certainly, George Russell is going to be 6-7 tenths ahead, burning all the battery, but it's not going to make a difference. Lando Norris might catch me yet as we come on the run to the line. The gap was only 2 tenths, but we do manage to hold on to P2. I'll allow myself a little bit of a celebration because I did keep Lando Norris behind, but certainly I would have rather got the victory there. In any case, I'm happy with P2. We beat Lando Norris, but the job's not done. We've still got a race to win tomorrow, and we'll see if we can get it then. So we make our way onto lap 36, and this is Oscar Piastri putting some pressure on his former teammate, Lando Norris, up the inside into turn 4. Can he make the overtake up into P2? Yes, he can. This could be absolutely critical for the championship if he can hold on to that. Not too dissimilar, if you remember, to Carlos Sainz doing that to Oscar Piastri, to Lando Norris in the previous season. In Season 4, which ultimately Norris did go on to win that championship, but this time Oscar Piastri might have just cost his former teammate a chance at winning the championship here. It may be even more pivotal than it was last season when Carlos Sainz overtook his former teammate Lando Norris, but for us it could mean everything as we're going to round the final corner to win here in Brazil, and that has maybe just put one hand on the trophy for us. Lando Norris is going to have to settle for P3 here, and this could be an absolutely massive result in terms of the championship. Fittipaldi gets driver of the day at his home race. I'm sure he'll be very happy about that, but it is P1 for us. Meanwhile, I'm struggling so much through these corners on these worn, overheating intermediate tyres on a dry track. Is Lando Norris suffering the same problems? I don't think quite as much. Oscar Piastri has gapped me by 2 seconds on this lap. Lando Norris is absolutely fuming at the situation he's in right now. He knows he's faster than me, but is he going to be able to overtake me on the line to keep his championship hopes alive, or is it going to be a first Formula 1 World Championship for me? The gap is closing, but we take P2.
And with that, another year of Formula 1 draws to a close and a new World Drivers' Champion is declared. Another entry added to that prestigious list of the sport's most incredible drivers.
Point. It's not letting me do my pit stop. It won't bring me into the pits, and yeah, we're just gonna have to see if we can finish the race on what will be 20 lap old soft compound tyres by that point. It will be a very interesting experiment to see if that works. Joe and Verstappen making the move on me because I was again letting them through. Again, it's not me driving. I'm just you know, I haven't been in control since lap 3. Again, slowing up now to let Sargent through, who's caught up with me at this point. And I think this was about the time I realised that no matter how hard I tried, I was not gonna. No matter how much I wanted for me to be classified in this race, it probably wasn't going to happen because I was just going to get a puncture and crash out or something like that, or run around with a puncture for ages as De Vries gets past me and then the engine conks out. We kill Hulkenberg in the process. So yeah, massive moment for him. But yeah, the engine eventually does give up completely into lap 16. So I was really hoping we would be classified here. I thought it would be a very interesting situation to see if it actually did happen. But no avail, unfortunately. So there we go. That is the end of the race for me. Yeah. As we make our way onto lap 29 now, it is almost certain to be a Red Bull Constructors' Championship, especially now that George Russell has actually made his way into the lead of the Grand Prix. I'd be very surprised if this goes any way other than the way of Red Bull. And despite the fact that I tried my hardest, there was no safety cars to get us back into the fight. There's only so hard I can push on slightly more worn out hard compound tyres. We at least managed to stay with Lando Norris through these last couple of laps, even if we couldn't get back past him. And we are going to round the final corner and disappointingly take P6 and miss out on the Constructors' title. Yes, we still won the Drivers' Championship, so we don't walk away from this season completely empty-handed. But, I mean, it would have been nice to do the double, but it just means that next season we're going to come back extra motivated, most likely with a new teammate, and we're going to fight for Constructors' glory. Alright, what is up everyone? I hope you enjoyed that recap of our 5th season as Jaguar Racing, and now we are going to get into the final end of season admin bits. There's a few exciting things that we've got to do, and the first of those, of course, is going to be the contract renewal. We are going to be potentially, and well, I say potentially, we set Jack Doohan a target. He had to help us win the Constructors' Championship. If he couldn't do that, he would be leaving the team. And as things stand, we haven't won the Constructors' Championship, so I'm going to be signing a brand new teammate. And I floated some ideas in the past, and I decided I was going to try and evaluate the drivers based on their rating and go from there. So I'm going to sort the drivers by rating in a second. You can see here, there's 397 rated drivers. I already said I wouldn't sign George Russell because we were in a championship fight with him this season. And so that left Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. And this was a very, very difficult decision. But ultimately, at this stage in the career at least, Charles Leclerc on racecraft and pace is actually slightly better than Max Verstappen. Yes, he has slightly worse awareness. Yes, he's not quite as experienced. But I think that he is going to be the stronger driver to guide our team forward. He's also slightly less expensive, which is always nice as well. So we're going to get into a bidding war with Ferrari, and we're going to see if we can negotiate with them to sign Charles Leclerc to Jaguar Racing for Season 6 of our life as a team in Formula 1. So we make a small bid, and you can see that we are currently possessing the highest offer, and we're just going to keep making small bids until eventually Ferrari tap out. Which they didn't fight very hard for him, actually. I thought, you know, considering Leclerc's kind of their golden boy, the star man of that Ferrari team, I thought that they would fight a bit harder for him, but they didn't. And so Charles Leclerc next season is going to be a Jaguar Racing Formula 1 driver, and I'm very excited to see what we can do. Surely it's going to be easy constructors for us. World champion plus a world champion quality driver, one of the best drivers on the grid. Second best after Max Verstappen according to the ratings. I think that we have a very, very good chance of winning the Constructors' Championship next season. You can see we missed out on it this season, 40 points down on Red Bull, but we picked up the Drivers' Championship. Next year, I'm going to be hoping to do the double, and I am really, really optimistic about our chances. I think that brand new signing of Charles Leclerc has galvanized us somewhat, and we will be able to get on, hopefully, an early winning run. Lots of podiums for both drivers over the course of the season. That's my target. It's got to be P1. You can see there's been a few driver moves as well. Max Verstappen has taken up the missing place in Ferrari. Meanwhile, Jack Doohan has gone to Haas, possibly replacing Nico Hülkenberg. Although actually, Logan Sargent has also left Haas to go to the vacant spot in Aston Martin, opened up by Max Verstappen's departure to Ferrari. So there is a Ferrari seat unaccounted for here, and there is a Haas seat unaccounted for here. So I can only assume that those are going to be taken up by drivers not currently on the grid. Ferrari, I imagine, will probably be Théo Pourchaire, if I had to guess, on account of the fact that he obviously has a little bit of Formula 1 experience. He did that half a season with Mercedes before they dropped him in favour of Alex Albon. And that was obviously how Jack Doohan got introduced onto the Formula 1 grid. Doohan now kind of taking a bit of a step back, going to Haas, but, you know, maybe they'll be competitive next season. And Jack Doohan's no slouch. He definitely has the ability to compete under the right conditions. You see that he got a podium, as well as how many fourth places is that? 4 fourth places. Obviously, we picked up 7 wins in the end. We were looking at the results screen there. Yeah, we picked up 7 wins. We did quite comprehensively better than Jack Doohan. Even the times when he got pole position, he just couldn't capitalise on it during the Grand Prix themselves. Yes, he did get a couple of sprint victories. I think he got 1 sprint victory. To be fair, most of the sprint victories last season actually went my way, if I remember correctly, even in places I wasn't expecting them to. So, yeah, Sainz and Hülkenberg have retired. Their spots have effectively been opened up to brand new drivers who aren't on the grid yet. And we are going to be going forward with Leclerc as our teammate for Season 6. This is quite exciting for me. Somebody who I've never had as a teammate before in a career mode. And I've had most of these drivers as teammates at some point over the course of my time playing the Formula 1 games. So I'm very, very excited to see what we can do as a team with the Monegasque driver. You know, this is the first time we've signed a race-winning driver to our team, although actually, strictly speaking, that's not true, because of course Kevin Magnussen did win that race for Haas back in Season 2 before we signed him in Season 4. But, a driver who has been involved in championship battles, a driver who's won multiple races, a driver who's beaten vastly more experienced world champion teammates. He is definitely a driver to look out for, and I think that, you know, under the right conditions, maybe he could be involved in a championship battle with us as well. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the following season. Obviously, there's a few little bits we've got to sort out for next season before we can end. We're going to be adding the 3 races that weren't on the calendar this season, which was Miami, Singapore, and Texas. Those 3 will be coming back to the calendar and being removed from the calendar. 3 races that have appeared on every year's calendar so far. One of them is Bahrain, so the season opener will be at Saudi Arabia, which will be the first time that the season opener has not been Bahrain in this entire career mode. I'm also going to be taking off a couple of races in the sort of midpoint of the European section of the calendar. So Austria will be missing from the calendar this time around, and also Hungary will be absent from the calendar. Those are the tracks I've chosen this time around. I basically am just trying to get through a full rotation of tracks if I can, and next year we'll do another 3 which have been on the calendar in all 6 seasons, which at this stage is only about 8 tracks that I think have appeared on the calendar in every season. So we're coming down to actually getting rid of races that I quite like and would rather have on the calendar, but that's the nature of it. Once again, I think we're just going to re-sign with DSB Optics. There's not really a better option in terms of a primary sponsor to go with. So yeah, the target will be 3rd in the championship. You can see that Mercedes have actually taken a big step back, and the current strongest engine supplier on the grid is Red Bull Powertrains. Obviously, we don't know how they're going to develop over the course of however many seasons they develop over, but I am still nonetheless going to go with Red Bull Powertrains for season 6. This is the first time I think I've done Red Bull Powertrain since they've become an engine supplier in My Team career mode. So it'll be interesting to see how they can help us. Maybe we'll get caught into a battle with Red Bull again. You can see the car and the livery and the outfits here. I really actually quite like this livery that I've designed this time. I think it's nicer than last season, certainly. I think the metallic green and the satin grey complement each other quite nicely. And that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you when I'm driver number 1.